Bone marrow transplants are used to help save lives. Children's of Alabama is encouraging everyone to be the match for bone marrow transplants with a special event that's coming up very soon. Here to tell us more about the event is Melissa Wallace from Children's of Alabama. Melissa, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Now, we have talked a good bit about bone marrow transplants and matching up donors over the past few weeks here on First at 4. Tell us a little bit about the bone marrow. What is that used for? How does that help people?
Okay, every year across the country and across the world, children and adults alike are diagnosed with different kinds of cancers or blood disorders that are not always curable by conventional chemotherapy alone. And so oftentimes they are referred for a bone marrow transplant. In order for a bone marrow transplant to happen, you have to have a donor, and only 25% of people are able to find a sibling that is a donor, brother or sister. So we have to look outside to the National Marrow Donor Program registry to find donors for people otherwise. Donors are most likely going to match in the same racial or ethnic groups, and so we have a hard time sometimes locating a donor, especially for minority populations. And that's sort of the focus of the drive, is to recruit donors of all races, but specifically minority groups, to increase the probability that we would find a donor for a patient who needed a transplant.
And this is very different from running down to the Red Cross and giving blood. Bone marrow and the blood that you donate, totally different things, right?
That's correct. Bone marrow, first of all, you have to match based on what we call HLA typing, and that's where we look at DNA, and there's specific markers that we look for, and we match at very specific points. And so there's 5 different places. You get 5 points from mom, 5 points from dad, and so we look at it out of 10, and we want a perfect match every time we do a transplant. And like I said, as we look at different minority groups, there are 9.5 million people currently on the registry. 6.8 of them are Caucasian. And so if you can imagine the remaining 3 million divided among the different minority groups, the percentages are they're just a lot lower. And so we sometimes have a hard time locating donors for people of different minority groups.
Understood. And when you get in to get checked to see if you're a donor, it's not a complicated process at all. It's very easy, right?
Right. To sign up, what you would do is fill out a pamphlet or a questionnaire to make sure that you're medically eligible. And if you are medically eligible and between the ages of 18 and 60, then all it requires is taking a cotton swab and swabbing the inside of your mouth 4 different times. And it's as simple as that. If you are a potential donor, then you would be called back later to possibly give a blood sample.
Excellent. And just that easy. No needles, no pricking, no blood, just a little cotton swab.
Very easy.
All right, super. Melissa, thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck with the drive.
Thank you.
The Children's of Alabama Call to Caring Blood and Bone Marrow Registry Drive will take place on Thursday, February 23rd, and Friday, February 24th from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. The event will take place on the first floor of the food court at the River Chase Galleria Mall in Birmingham. Learn more online at childrensal.com.